Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, let's be honest, I'm not real excited to talk to you all tonight because our Jets are terrible. I am excited to hear your thoughts, though. We're going to do this the same way we do it every Monday night. We're going to do talking to the chat for a little bit, for about, we'll call it maybe 5-10 minutes. We'll see. I don't have a whole lot to say. And then we'll go to the phone lines if you guys want to talk, or we'll just continue to talk to the chat, and I'll give you guys my thoughts throughout with a bunch of questions in there. See our buddy Blitz Crew in. What's up, dude? He says, only 2 waiting. Times have changed. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough season. Not as many people engaged. Myself included, I'll be honest. I was watching the game yesterday, and I was like, I do not care the outcome of this game. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to watch. I'm going to, pick on the players that I think are good, pick on the players that I think are bad, give you guys my thoughts. But overall, just very, very tough season for us Jet fans. But Blitz, I appreciate you being in here. 𝐀𝐿𝐴, I appreciate you too. Says, this blows donkey balls. Yeah, that's about right. Cisco, yesterday's game was an atrocity. We find new and creative ways to lose. As New York Jets fans, team, guys looking on, the Jets find new ways to lose and surprise the fans that are looking on. Boys and girls, this stream powered by BetUS. Head down into the description. Get a 150% bonus match on your first deposit up to $2,000 using code YouTube150. See if I've got that pulled up. I think I do. Boom, there it is. 150% bonus match on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Guys, I want to know from you, how many games do you think the Jets actually win from here on out? We've got the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Rams, the Bills, and the Dolphins again. The Dolphins seemingly a little bit of trouble in, I wouldn't call it paradise, but over in Fishland over there, the aquarium, whatever you want to talk about it, down in the down Miami region. They don't like their head coach because he got a little cold, was standing next to the heater. Says he's supposed to be our leader. And he can't man up. Starts coaching, is what we heard. Don't fall apart on us yet, Dolphins. We need you for 2 more losses. Come on. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. Boys and girls, let me know how many wins you think the Jets will ultimately end up having in here. We got a little bit to talk about from yesterday's game. This was a game of 2... I want to say 2 halves, but I don't even know if I want to say that so much. It's a tale of 2 halves for the Jets for sure. We didn't score a point since the early in the second quarter, I believe, right? 21 points. We had the opportunity. Aaron Rodgers misses Garrett Wilson in the front part of the end zone on the right hash, or on the, right sideline there. Misses the wide open touchdown to go up 28-6 or 28-7, whatever the score was at that time. And then the very next play, don't you know our buddy Leonard Williams just happens to be in the throwing lane of one Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers said he did not see Leonard Williams at all. He was tucked behind the right guard, bounced off, I believe it was a shoulder pad initially, and then he popped it up, caught it, and wound up getting the longest return of a 300-pounder. I don't know if that's in Jets history or Seahawks history. Whatever. It was definitely a record of some sorts. And Leo just had an amazing game. Just dominating our entire offensive line. Had 2 sacks. Had the interception for a touchdown. Blew up multiple plays. Very, very much a tall task. And then even in the first half, the Seahawks just found every way possible to shoot themselves in the foot. They had 3 fumbles. I think it was 3 fumbles. You can correct me if I'm wrong. 3 fumbles on special teams, and we recovered 2 of them. It felt like they couldn't do anything on special teams. Even like us, we got a blocked extra point. They had a blocked extra point. Their punter could not, he was sick or wasn't healthy or something, so they were thinking about running Myers out there to punt. And then at the end of the game, when they have 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 and these other opportunities to kick the field goal, to go up ahead of the Jets by a point or 2, and they say, nah, we'd rather risk giving you the ball back than kick from here because we don't have any faith that you're going to stop us. We know we can impose our will on you. This is a Seahawks team that played down to the level of competition in yesterday's game. This was not a Jets team that played up to the level where the Seattle Seahawks were or have been playing. This is very much, at least while I was watching, I felt like this was very much a smoke and mirrors type game for the New York Jets. I saw a lot of undisciplined penalties. I think we had 12 penalties on the day. Is that right? 12 penalties on the day, like 80 some odd yards. Rodgers not throwing the ball beyond 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. Can't push the ball downfield. Literally no one having a really good day. Really, really frustrating to see this on a consistent basis. 𝐂𝐼𝐷 comes out. We find out Rodgers is starting moving forward, at least for this week. Maybe they reassess in the weeks to follow if he's hurt or something along those lines. I don't know whether to feel good or bad about that. I guess it means I don't have to be overly excited about these Jet games because Rodgers playing, and I think it gives us the best chance to lose if he's starting, to be perfectly honest. I think Tyrod Taylor gives us the best shot to win. And at this point, I'm just looking for the draft pick. I don't even really care what pick we get. Sure, I want to lose out, because if we get a top 3 pick, we could trade out of that top 3 pick. Or we could take the quarterback. Or you take someone that you want. Top non-quarterback if you get top 3. Jets are currently sitting at pick 6. I think the Jets will probably end up in the 3 to 5 range, barring some type of victory. Although the Jaguars game coming up here in 2 weeks' time could shift that greatly if we wind up winning that game. So keep an eye on that. But guys, I want to hear from you. So I will open up the phone lines. Let me just get Nightbot going, because I don't think Nightbot is actually posting the link tonight. Nightbot's slacking off. All right, Nightbot. Do your thing, baby. All right. So Nightbot should have that put in there. Do I have a call-in link? I think I do have a call-in link somewhere. Let me see where I did. Oh, I did do that. Bam. All right. I'm going to pin the call-in number to the top of this stream. If you would like to call in, do a little bit of talk about a whole bunch of different things, whether it be the GM, the head coach, draft stuff, last night's game. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers starting? Where do you think things go? I'm interested in all the stuff you guys have to talk about. Wildwave says, Woody blackballing Fireman Ed for speaking out against his meddling. Is that what's going on? I didn't see that, but it doesn't surprise me. Nice to have you in here, Wildwave. Max says, up 21-7. I text my friends I refuse to buy back in this season. There's no chance they don't blow this lead. That's amazing. I texted my buddies. I was like, wow, the Jets are actually showing up today. Not like, it might have been like a few snaps later. I think it was after the turnover. Prior to Rodgers' interception. I was like, wow, Jets are actually cooking. Nope. They burnt the dish. Oh, geez. Cisco thinks they win one more game. Jimmy Jets thinks they win one more game. Blitz says, been wondering, Tomlin has been great for a long time. Where are his assistants getting head coaching positions? He is such a steady Eddie organization, such a steady Eddie coach at a steady Eddie organization. This is a guy who has a constant message year in and year out. He's never had a losing season. And he's coaching for a team with ownership that has had like 5 head coaches in its history. So while he is an incredible head coach, I do think this does speak to the weakness at ownership that we do have. We did find out that Woody Johnson, unfortunately, not going to the UK with the Trump administration, so he is going to be our acting owner for the next 4 years. So we have that to look forward to, I guess, if you want to look forward to that. Robert says, maybe we beat the Jags. Rose Kate, I'm 35 years old, and this has been the most disappointing season in my lifetime. I think it just feels worse because other potential rebuild on the horizon again is just so daunting. Ross. Sorry about that. I'm 35 years old as well, and I concur. I do think this is the most disappointing season that I've ever watched. Last year's season was a very, very close second because of the expectation, but at least I could hang my hat on the fact that, well, Rodgers was hurt. If he wasn't hurt, we'd be having success. And he's not hurt, and we're not having success. So these last 2 years have been incredibly, incredibly disappointing. I don't even know what other year I'd go back to. Like maybe one of the Rex years. There was a year or two in there that was just really, really terrible. I remember being really young for the Kotite year and like the 1-win season year, but I don't really like remember plays or anything that happens. I just remember going to the games with my dad. This is definitely the most disappointing. This is the most unplugged I think I've been of like a Jets season. It does help that I have 2 young kids under the age of like 2.5, so I'd much rather just spend some more time with them and come back up with the off-season stuff and looking at draft picks and all that good jazz. No reason to discount family time when this team can't carry water. Love Viles, what's up, dude? He goes, Ryan, I thought someone slipped something in my coffee yesterday. That's how wacky that game was. I watched Jet Central last vid on hiring someone who wants to be here and turn the ship around. That's Rex. So that is the one saving grace for Rex that I will say. Someone that's proud to be a Jet would be someone that I do like, and I think it's a key feature for a head coach. It's tough to find that. Rex, I do believe, has that. I don't think he's the best head coach for the job. I think if you were looking at the tiers of head coaches, you could probably stop at wherever Rex Ryan falls on your list. And you could say, okay, that's our floor. I don't particularly want to go the Rex Ryan route. I agree with Jet Central in that we want to hire someone who wants to turn the ship around. That coach for me is Brian Flores. I don't know if he wants to be here, but I think someone who's really pissed off at Miami, who wants a second shot at a job and gets to go against his former team 2 games in a season for the foreseeable future. He coached with New England. That's the guy I want. There's a violence to his defense. It will get the defensive side of our team excited about it. I don't know who you bring in for an offensive coordinator. Probably has to be like Josh McCown. You're probably getting a lower level of like offensive staff, unfortunately. But if I had to pick between Rex or Flores, I'm going to go the Flores route. Unless you can convince Rex to be an assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, you can really get your offensive-minded head coach as well. But I agree with Jet Central. I would absolutely bring someone in here that wants to be here. Vrabel's at the top of my list. If he wants to turn this thing around, I would hand him a blank check and I would say, hey, you pick your GM. I don't care. Vrabel's the guy I want. But I will take Flores in a heartbeat. Boogie Down Bronx, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, Ryan, I'm pretty sure your wife didn't do the lights, buddy. LOL. Looks good, buddy. Happy holidays. Flores for coach. He's a no-nonsense guy. Bring offensive coordinator. No, my wife did not do these lights. I did all these lights myself. I found that Christmas tree. I don't even know if I set up the Christmas tree last year. I think I did. My wife's mom took my little Christmas tree for her Christmas tree when we did Christmas at her house last year. But yeah, I got the tree, and then I strung up these lights. I did have these lights last year, and then we set up a whole bunch of lights outside and did all our decorating and whatnot. So our house is all holly jollied up. Holly jollied. Happy Festivus, people out there. All right, let's go back through here. Average Joe thinks we might win 2 games max. 𝐀𝐿𝐥𝐢𝐵 Lake says, like, WTF, how does this team just suck so bad? This damn staff has done such a terrible job the past 4 years. So undisciplined and crumble in tough times. I'm going to be 38, and this is the worst. Yeah, and we also heard Connor Hughes say how Garrett and Brees are incredibly frustrated with his offensive staff. He said that the time for hometown discounts is over. Yeah. I would have told you that. I probably told you that last year, if I'm being honest. I think those are the 2 guys I see that are the least likely to re-sign with the New York Jets. They are two of the guys that I would like to maintain on the New York Jets. Now, whether that's a new head coach and GM coming in saying, hey, everyone's got to earn their contract beyond this year, I'm fine if you don't want to offer Breece a contract after his rookie deal's up because you got Braylon Allen. But, man, it really sucks to have to waste so many good, young, cheap years for these young players. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I wish they would want to be here, but it's been brutal. Ross says, we'll end up with 4 wins, and the 4th win will stop us from getting the player we all want, whoever that may be. Yeah, we'll all be bitching and moaning. Right now, there's a few players that I do like at the top of this draft. I still have to go into like my actual analysis and see, where these things shake out, which players actually go. Tankathon has the Jets taking Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan. I don't particularly want to do that. McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, is someone I very much like. Tankathon has him going 4 to the Patriots. 6'5" dude catches everything. So that's the player I would prefer to get. Abdul Carter, they have going number 7 to the Titans. That's the edge rusher from Penn State. I do like him as well. Those would be the 2 guys that really stand out to me. The defensive lineman, Mason Graham from Michigan's the other one. Those 3, if I wind up with one of those 3, I'll be pretty happy. After that, I'd have to do a little bit more research. I'm kind of hoping we don't fall out of that stretch of players. And then I do think Milroe is going to fly up draft boards. I think there's going to be a realistic situation where the Jets could be the team that take him inside the top 10, especially if some of these other players that I just mentioned are gone. But yeah, that's probably about right. I told you in late October, Woody wasn't a lock to go back to the UK. Yep, you were right. Keuka Lake, JD Sala and Rodgers, honey dicked us all. Yep. A tale of one quarter. Jacob, I hate this team. Oh, dude, I understand. I understand. I'm right there with you. The Wedge, Leo the Lion, payback is a mother trucker. Yep. E-Rock, man, what is this team? Why every goddamn year? Every year I say it cannot get worse. It cannot get worse. And you know what? It gets fucking worse every year. Every goddamn year. Every year. I'm done. I can't say it. I cannot say it. I'm not going to do it anymore. Oreo, what if the Jets do something crazy and go after one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, much like the Bears did for Cutler? Say we trade 3 firsts or more for, say, Joe Burrow. Thoughts on that? Yeah, I'm down. I'm totally down on making a move for a younger quarterback. I don't know if that's realistic to see happen, but I'm on board. I would do it. Let me know which quarterback it could be. I saw someone tagged me in something about Kirk Cousins. I don't think Kirk's going to come here, but I would be fine with trading for an older vet quarterback that might, be looking for one last chance at a Super Bowl. I think Stafford's kind of older at this point. He's been banged up. I don't know if he's the guy. I'm just like, Cousins would be another name. Russell Wilson. I don't really want to see Russ, though. Trying to think what other names are around the league that would fit that bill. I don't know. If there's a young quarterback up there, I'm down for it, though. Give Sam the bag. I would love to see Sam back. We'll never see him back here, though. How are you thinking we're going 3-14? Dude, if you told me after Aaron Rodgers' tenure, he will have led us to a grand total of like 3.05 wins and 4,000 yards across 2 years, I wouldn't have believed you. Our inconsistency is consistent. Accurate, my friend, accurate. Wild Wave. Woody single-handedly destroyed this rebuild as well as the season. I don't know. I feel like Douglas has to have a big hand in this as well. I think the dismantling of the defensive line, whether that be mainly on Woody because he shut down, the Bryce Huff potential extension. I guess it depends where you lay that blame. I don't think Huff would have negotiated with us in season, so I think Douglas's contract would have fallen on deaf ears. But Woody has done more harm than good, I think. Oreo, I feel really bad for Garrett and Breece and JJ and the young stars essentially wasting their talents and careers. If you're in their shoes, realistically, would you want to stay? High taxes, bad team. I think JJ and Sauce are probably the two most likely to stay. I think Garrett and Brees are going to try and maybe force their way out or force a contract, but I don't think we're, unfortunately, a very desirable location, and that's in part because of our high taxes, but it's also in part because of our dysfunction. I think there are plenty of teams like the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams that have high taxes, but players want to play there because they're a good team. So if you're a good team, you can overcome all that. Unfortunately, we are not that, and we have to deal with the jet tax on a year in, year out basis. And Jet's asking, we're telling everyone, hey, I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're doing well too. Jacob says, I hope we get Travis Hunter. He plays cornerback and comes in as wide receiver on important plays, third downs. So he's an exciting player. I don't mind not being in a position to get him necessarily. I think I'd like us to take a quarterback or trade down or be in a position to maybe take one of these other positions. Corner doesn't feel like it should be a need for us, but at the same time, we had that one season with Eccles and Bryce Hall. We're like, oh, we don't need a quarterback and corner at number 4. We brought his free agent DJ Reed and whatnot, and worked out all right for us. So maybe I'm wrong. Let Rodgers finish the season. We paid him play. Yeah, I also think the fans should get an opportunity to see him, especially those fans that spent some money on him or spent money on tickets for later in the season that obviously are seeing a pretty shell-shocked team right now. 𝐀𝐿 says, get D-line or quarterback with the top pick unless they sign Sam. I think Sam's going to go back to Los Angeles. I think he's going to the Rams. I think he's going to be the heir apparent to Stafford. And I think there is a chance if Stafford doesn't retire that maybe he comes out from LA to be our quarterback. But I think Sam ultimately goes to the Rams, and then whatever happens to Stafford is to be seen. I think it's more likely he retires than anything else. Tom says, last year hurt worse. This year, I didn't allow myself to get on the hype train, fully expected it. That's understandable. I definitely was not there. I was on the hype train. I thought this was a better roster than we had last year, sans the defensive line, and unfortunately, everything fell apart. Everything fell apart. Oregon says, every season since 1970 has been a disappointment. Yep. Ryan, don't say that. There's a chance Woody gets a different position in Trump's cabinet. Maybe, but I feel like UK is kind of Woody's spot. Would love to see him gone, though. Ross, that's what it was. Last year was rough, but we all believed it would be so much better this year. Even in my wildest dreams, I could not have imagined things going this bad. Yep. Could never have done that. If you told me, 2 years ago, when I was all hyped up about Aaron Rodgers coming here, no shot would I have thought this. Blitz says, when was the last season we went into the season knowing we had our quarterback one and were right about it? I mean, we thought the last 2 years we had our quarterback, and we were right about it. Now, the 2 years prior, I think we did know we had Zach Wilson as our quarterback one, but I don't think we felt good about it because he was so young. Sam, I think, was a similar mindset too. I knew he was going to be our quarterback one, but he was still young and you were hoping a lot. So probably, realistically, you're probably talking about 2011 with Sanchez. That's our guy that took us to 2 AFC championship games. That's definitely our guy. At least I think that's what it would be for me. Isaiah, it stings even worse that I know some of these close games and having the defense not coming in the clutch after 2 years of doing it. Yeah, we have lost so many close games. If we had an elite defense and a good special teams, especially like kicker, we're probably a playoff bound team. Like even with Rodgers struggling the way he is, it's just unfortunate that Rodgers can't will the team to win the way he used to be able to, and we just kind of fell apart on the parts of the team that were so good for us in years past. Aaron Rodgers equals fool's gold. Yep. Last year was also disappointing. Also the year before. Also the year before. Also the year before. Repeat ad nauseum. Adam wants Flores or Vrabel. 𝐀𝐟𝐼𝐥𝐢 Flores and Josh McCown and sign Sam. That was the team that I halfly tongue-in-cheek said with Dom C. Was a month and a half ago now? Month ago? It was a while ago at this point. Flores, McCown is OC, Sam is the quarterback. Make it happen. I'll be on board. Missing when we were 7-3. Yeah, it'd be nice to have one of those types of roles. Cisco wants Vrabel. Paris says anyone who wants Rex Ryan as the head coach probably also wanted Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Jets fans who also want Ryan were probably too young to remember how bad it ended. Look, I think a lot of Jet fans wanted Aaron Rodgers, myself included. I think most people looking at Rodgers coming off that 2022 season could look at him and say, okay, he's got a broken thumb. There's clearly some kind of regression. We think it's because of the thumb. He just had 2 back-to-back MVP years. For the price of a second-round pick and a 2-pick trade down, I'm willing to roll the dice on that. And or I guess it was, 2 second-round picks? 2 second-round picks and a trade down? I think it was still the right swing. Not knowing what everything would happen. Not knowing about his Achilles, not knowing about how he would regress this year and how he would look immobile. Without that sort of knowledge, I would say Aaron Rodgers is the correct player to go with. Now, in hindsight, you got to go back and say Baker Mayfield is hands down the best quarterback to go with during that offseason. But at the time, I was right there with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not there with Rex Ryan. Not in the slightest. I would say he's somewhere down my list where I would say, okay, there becomes a point where I just want someone who wants to be here, and we're just not taking stabs at random players. Like if you need a stopgap coach, that would be kind of like an Adam Gase for 2 years, or that coach that was with Houston. Was it Cawley? I think it was Cawley was the name of the coach. Right after all the Watson stuff went down, he was kind of there for 2 years as just like hey, I'm just keeping the seat warm for the next guy because no one else wanted the job. That's the kind of situation I would be all right with Rex having then at that point. Billy says Rodgers 41 years old. His vision is not what it was when he was 21 years old. It might be a little off. This explains his accuracy problem. I would give him a routine eye exam. Yeah, we needed that before the season. Give Rodgers some carrots to suck on. Talking about his eyesight. Mudfile was asking why quarterback or wide receiver. Quarterback or wide receiver to me, because I don't want to. Look, if Rodgers is gone, Devontae Adams is gone, and then you're sitting in the situation of, okay, you got Garrett Wilson, you got Breece Hall. Like these dudes are gonna start like knocking down the door to get out of here. And I think your only opportunity, if you don't get a quarterback in free agency before the draft or via trade, you got to be thinking, all right, we need a quarterback, or we are more than likely going to have to trade some of these players. And I don't really want to trade these good players. I think they're good assets to this team. I think Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are both players that should be on this team because of their effort, even though Breece has had some struggles because of fumbles and whatnot this year. But I do think both of them should be here. McMillan, because if Devontae's not here, and I do think Garrett Wilson is probably gone, McMillan would at least be a wide receiver 1 for whoever the next quarterback could be. So that's sort of my thinking with that. Mercy Fate, happy holidays. Love the festivity. Thank you. Vincent says Jets are trash. Damn right. Enjoy missing the playoffs as well. Paris says it was pathetic seeing Rodgers yell at his teammates after a broken play. Yeah, I mean, he's just always kind of, he's not the model of like inspiration at this point anymore. The Shield, the first round pick isn't going to fix this team. What more proof do we need? We need actual coaching. Yeah, we do. That doesn't change the fact that I want the highest possible pick, so that way it might attract the best possible candidate. They're kind of hand in hand. We need the coaching, and potentially getting a higher draft pick might help our cause in getting said coach in here. Bun, all the hype leading into this year and this outcome, brutal. Yep. Woody Curse. Wild Wave says, Graham, Johnson, Carter, we need a top 7 pick. Add in McMillan, too. Add in McMillan. Oreo asking, what do you quarterback? If you don't go quarterback, sign Justin Fields, Winston, Oh, so yeah, Mutt Viles, I am on board with that. I like the idea of bringing in Justin Fields for a year. Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Travis, let them all duke it out. Draft the best possible players you can, and then just let it ride, because then you get an opportunity to see a former first-round pick in Justin Fields, who is a scrappy player that, at the very least, Justin Fields played with Garrett Wilson, so there's some ties there. I think on the Jordan Travis side of things, maybe something clicks and he could be a guy. Why not? And worst case scenario, you wind up losing the season. You go up for a quarterback in next year's draft. I just wouldn't want to pass on the quarterbacks this year if you didn't already feel confident going into next year. Like if there's a quarterback there, like let's say Milroe's a dude, he runs a 4.3 at the combine, and people are like, oh, this dude's gonna be a quarterback. Like this is a guy. I would rather make that selection than pass on him. I don't want another Hackenberg / Mahomes Watson situation going on again. We need an established head coach. Example, Denver with Sean Payton. They're 7-5 right now with a rookie quarterback. Facts. I would rather sign Justin Fields. Good with that. No more quick fixes. No more sideshows. Just keep the head down and grind out a few bad seasons with a legit GM / coach. We did try that, and I'm not saying that's not the right way to do it. But I think you got a lot of young talent right now, and it's not that you necessarily need a quick fix. I'm saying if you like one of the quarterbacks in this draft, go make the selection, because I do think you'll be able to get quarterback 3 right now. I don't think you're getting Sanders or Ward. I don't even particularly feel crazy about any of these quarterbacks in general. Milroe is the one that does kind of excite me, though. You see a Jameis Winston arriving here with Vrabel. It would be cool if you got Jameis Winston and Conklin in one shot. Or no, Jameis Winston and Jedrick Wills. So you get your right tackle or left tackle in Olu and Wills. And then you have a quarterback in Jameis Winston. Winston is just a very entertaining player to have. I don't think he's a great person. I think he's better than he was coming out of college from a personality standpoint. He's an interesting cat. Could go a lot worse. Mutt Viles. Hell, at this point, go get Tom Brady or Drew Brees. Tom Brady's a part owner of the Raiders. He's about to make the selection of Shedeur Sanders after the season. Justin Fields sucks. Mike Tomlin benched him. Ohio State quarterbacks usually are bad NFL quarterbacks. Yeah, but at least if you bring in Justin Fields, in the event you wanted to have a high upside type of season and maybe hold on to Garrett Wilson, at least if you're bringing in Fields, I think Garrett would be okay. Hey, okay, I'll play with Fields for a year. I know that guy from college. I think that's a swing of the bat that might keep him in line. Not to mention you could run a really power team with Allen and Fields and Brees. That would be a very violent team. You're probably going to have less at the receiving core next year, regardless, outside of Garrett. Corley would be a little bit of a beast. I could get on board with it. I really could. Tom says better than any of the old quarterbacks he was talking about. I mean, yeah, Stafford and Cousins. That's really it. I'd like to bring in a quarterback. Milroe is probably the guy that I gravitate towards the most. Fields is an interesting option as far as free agency goes. I don't know what direction they go. I'm really open to a lot. Once we get a head coach, I think we'll know a little bit more. J-Mo says, keep Rodgers in. It's the best way to get the highest draft pick possible. Completely agree with you. Completely agree. Why would any ex-Jet want to come back? Because the GM that jettisoned him away is no longer here. That's a possibility, maybe. But I think Sammy Boy's going back to LA. I think he's going to be the heir apparent to Stafford. Mercy. Reed has been the best player on defense this season. Hate to see him leave. Yeah, I think he's definitely gone, though, unfortunately. I'm a big Reed guy, but we don't have enough money, I don't think, unless you want to make a move and trade Sauce. But I think that would be ill-advised right now. Ill-advised. All right, guys, I'll get back to your questions in just 1 second. Just want to recognize our sponsor. just because some of my takes may stink doesn't mean you guys have to stink. And that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in. Mando reached out and said, Ryan, your team has stunk for a very long time, so we know that you understand what stinking is. And I said, yeah, absolutely. They're like, so bad, in fact, that we think we can smell you through the camera. And I was like, man, that's very aggressive. Thank you. But what do I got to do? They're like, hey, we're going to send you out some product. We want you to test it out. We want you to be honest with your audience. And then if you like it, offer up a promo code. I was like, all right, cool. So they sent me out the starter pack. I got the Mount Fuji deodorant. Really enjoy that. Put that on every day. In the summer, I've got what is known as a chafing problem, like 2 chestnuts over a roasting fire type problem. This stuff can be put on anything. Your feet, your butt crack, your grundle, your armpits, your hands, boobies, rolls, under boobies, anywhere. This stuff is totally safe. And throwing this on the chafing areas, very, very appreciated. It comes with 2 free gifts as well. I chose the bourbon leather body wash. Becca has really liked that, but I think my favorite thing in the pack is honestly the deodorant wipes. I throw this in my to-go bag and I can just freshen up no matter where I am throughout my day. And maybe I was just yelling at a camera underneath some hot lights and I just need to look a little bit nicer, smell a little bit nicer when I walk out of the cockpit here. So guys, if you want to get in on this, I've really enjoyed it. Shopmando.com, promo code JetsTalk. That's shopmando.com, promo code JetsTalk is going to get you $5 off. That's a 40% off savings on their starter pack. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. Mando! Always good. If you're looking for deodorant, look for soap. Their soap is badass. Be honest. Big fan of the soap. Johnny says, can we safely say there was no quarterback that JD could have taken that would have worked, but he takes all the blame? So the correct, if we're going hindsight, there is no quarterback that would have worked out better, although I wish we had tanked and we could have had Trevor Lawrence. I would have much rather that situation. But in hindsight, the move was to retain Sam Darnold and to trade back, or not pick up Sam's 5th-year option, let him ride out that 4th year, trade down from the number 2 pick, get the haul that Miami got. You wind up bringing in, I guess it would have been Micah Parsons if you trade down like that, or you stay put and you draft like Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell or something along those lines. That would have been the move. Trading down or having... Trading down and keeping Sam is probably the move that we should have done. Johnny, nice seeing you again. Just talking to my dad about you. Paris says, 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, having a bad prior season, should have been a red flag. Yeah, but we were tied into it, so it was a matter of, okay, you're riding with the hope and the belief, or like you're just not watching football. Sorry, not watching football wasn't an option for me. This defense is a joke. 2 interceptions all year is a disgrace. Yeah, when you're losing a lot of games too, you just don't have many opportunities to intercept the ball. And when your pass rush is basically dead, that does not help as well. So this team not generating turnovers has been a problem. Paris, top 3 reasons the Jets suck. Woody Johnson, poor coaching, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, I would agree in that order as well. James says, it was Tannenbaum's bad contracts that dismantled that team. The team got gutted, and there were no real playmakers because they went all in for 2009, 2010, and then they paid the wrong players. They paid Sanchez after they couldn't get Peyton Manning in here. They went out and they paid Santonio Holmes instead of Braylon Edwards. There was a lot of not great decisions right after that 2010 run. Mudfile says, I was in Paris when we had Rex. I remember the ending. It doesn't help when our GM after Mike was a brainless clown. I'm only on board with Rex is because he wants to be here and gets us fans. Yeah, that's really the only reason I'd want to do that. His final 6 years, his final 4 years with us, plus his final 2 years with the Bills were terrible. So I don't know. I'm not hyped on Rex, but I would get on board. Anthony says, I don't get why you want Flores so bad. He's not the next Mike Tomlin. Give me Aaron Glenn as head coach with Rex as defensive coordinator. Make it happen. Anthony, why do you want Aaron Glenn as head coach and Rex as head coach? Like, I'm not saying Flores is going to be the next Mike Tomlin. I'm saying Flores is going to be the guy that's going to be pissed off at a division rival and wants his second chance. Aaron Glenn has never had a first chance. So it's going to be learning on the job, and then you're giving Rex his 3rd chance. Second with us, He obviously had his time in Buffalo, dismantled that team. So me wanting Flores, I mean, look, Vrabel's the guy I want. Vrabel's the one I really, really want. Flores is the one that I think, much like Rex, would lavish the opportunity of potentially coaching this team and going against a former team. So those are the two guys for me. Aaron Glenn, like him, love him. You know, as a player, just I don't think he's the coach I really want to bring in. Wild Wave. It wasn't the right swing. We could have had Carr as a bridge and kept building through the draft. We were never a quarterback away. I don't know. It felt very quarterback away last year. Like, we needed an offensive line, of course. And I love Carr. Carr's a fun player to root for. Baker's a fun player to root for, too. Those two guys are. I don't know how much Carr was really going to pick the Jets. I think he always wanted to go back to Dennis Allen and the Saints because that's, you know, after having a coach that did not believe with him and Josh McDaniels, I think the coach who drafted him, or at least played him early in his career, I don't know if Allen was the one that actually made the selection with the Raiders initially, but I think Carr going there was sort of inevitable. Freedom House. When the owner oversteps the GM and coach, it's hard to get an experienced one at either position. I completely agree, and I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle for us trying to get the next regime in here. Olu, 42 pass block attempts, 0 pressures. Kind of nice. Will McDonald, 10 sacks. Also kind of nice. Those are the two positive things to take away from at this point. Blitz asking, we think we've seen what Ruckert has to offer at this point. Yeah. He's got, what, a 4-year contract? He's got 1 more year left on his deal. I am a Ruckert fan if he wants to be a rotational player later on. Beyond his rookie deal, that's kind of okay, but I would not let him being a Jet fan prevent me from upgrading the position and hopes that he has success beyond this year. Now, I will say this, our tight end position is naturally undervalued in this offense and with this quarterback. So it's entirely possible that Ruckert has a really good season next year with a new offensive scheme in place that might like the tight end position a little bit more. Not going to lie, it does suck not having Bowers on this team, seeing what he's doing. Not that I think he'd do the same thing here, obviously, but I very much saw this coming with Bowers. Max says, Arch Manning, let's get him in the next couple of years. Sadly, I do not think the Mannings will allow him to get drafted here. That would be one of those move out of the pick situations. Freedom House, Wilson got us 7 wins with a lot less talent, which tells you all you need to know about A-Rod. I think it's kind of unfair. There were situations where there were plays that Zach and only Zach could make because of his athletic ability. But there were so many situations where he put us in horrible situations, and our defense was just so much more elite. Our special teams was so much more elite. If we had last year's defense and special teams with this year's Aaron Rodgers, you'd still be saying this year's Aaron Rodgers is not very good, but this team would be very, very good right now. Infrared. We are not going to find out who the coach and GM are until March. That sucks. I don't think we're going to wait that long. I think we'll find out in January or February. It's not going to be much longer after the Super Bowl if they wait that long. I hope we don't wait that long. Defense won those games for Wilson. Stop being delusional. The D sucks now. I agree with Eddie. Sorry, Freedom. You're wrong. Benji says, here I was hoping for a little hope, but at this point, I'm with this. We're going up in smoke. This is what Rodgers wanted. So be it. Be buried in your shit as a goodbye gift. Yeah, Rodgers is going to continue playing. Just, I hope, I really want to see him retire. I don't really want to see him play in 2025 for another team because I just have this like, oh no, he's going to have a great season in my mind. And if he has a great season, I'm going to be very disappointed as a Jet fan. Mumtaz, thank you, dude, says, we have to lose the game at the Jaguars. Solid chance of securing the first or second pick. If we luck out with quarterback pick, we might be able to turn it around fast. Yeah, you get the right quarterback in here. Everything changes really, really quickly. I'll be honest, I'm not overly crazy. Like, I don't think Sanders is going to come to the Jets. I think Deion's going to push for him to play in a warm weather state. And I don't think Deion would allow him to get drafted by the Jets. I do think the Jets could draft Cam Ward. I don't know if that's the best direction to go. I obviously need to watch more and more of their quarterback playing, but my co-host, Mr. Dom C, has told me that he has the highest percentage of turnover-worthy plays Cam Ward does. So I'm almost kind of okay with wherever we wind up. And Milroe ends up being the quarterback I keep saying I prefer. I shouldn't say that this early on because he hasn't been that great. He's just stupid fast. But I agree. The Jaguars game is going to come down to, where are the Jets going to end up picking? The Jags have games against, let me find it real quick. The Jaguars have games against the Raiders, 2 against the Titans, the Jets, and the Colts. That is about as easy as you can get. They have 5 winnable games from here on out. The Jets, on the other side, our easiest game, the Dolphins twice, and the Jaguars. We need the Raiders to beat the Jags. The Giants are probably getting the top pick, realistically. They got the Saints and the Colts left. I guess it's possible they could win, but they're like putting every player on IR. This team knows how to tank. Giants are going to get a top 2 pick. Then you got New England, who doesn't have any easy opponents left. They got 2 against Buffalo, 1 against the Chargers, 1 against the Cardinals. So more than likely, they are the most likely to lose out of anyone in front of us. Cleveland doesn't have a very easy schedule. They're sitting just behind us. Carolina has the Cowboys left. Outside of that, it's the Eagles, the Cardinals, the Falcons, and the Bucks. Now, obviously, it does throw a little wrench into things if the teams that were playing in the final weeks of the season have locked up playoff spots. Maybe they wind up resting some players, and that creates some hurdles and whatnot. But we'll see. I think the Jets wind up picking somewhere between 3 and 5. Chris. What's up, Chris? He says, bro, the beard is epic. Joe Douglas and Saleh had a ton of time to make this work. It's not just Rodgers. It's the whole team. They phone it in early every week. Flores gets us 9 wins. Chris, first off, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to get a haircut and a beard trim up like this, Hostess Barber in Franklin, New Jersey. It's my guy, John. He watches the channel. Go in, I sit down in the barber chair. He's like, you've been here before? I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, you're a Jets fan. I was like, I am a Jets fan. He's like, I watch your show. I was like, no, that's awesome. Thank you, John. But yeah, as far as this, I agree. I think Flores does get this team. He says Flores max gets us 9 wins. Maybe you're talking about this year. Maybe you're talking about in the future. The most he can get us is 9 wins. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would very much be okay with Flores. I do want an offensive-minded head coach because I think that's always important. You got to score. Can't win games if you're not scoring points. Backporch Sports says Rodgers can't move anymore, and when he does, it takes it all out of him. We were promised everything under the sun, and we ended up getting kicked in the balls. Yeah, there was one play yesterday that I thought he looked pretty good mobily, I guess. He ran all the way to his left, then cut back and went all the way to his right. He did not throw a good pass. He wound up throwing it in the dirt right in front of Gibson? Corley? I think it was Corley. In the end zone. But I thought he moved around all right. Freedom House. No, we got Hackett because A-Rod and Hackett set the offense up to fail. Yeah, man, Hackett, much like his father, not a very good offensive mind. Disappointing. I like the guy, don't like the play caller. Infrared. I can't believe Woody is going to be not going to be ambassador in England. Just makes yesterday's loss that much worse. Yeah, it's just like an extra kick in the dick, right? Like Woody when he whips out the checkbook, getting free agents, and at the trade deadline, the meddling, I'm not a big fan of. I don't think any prospective head coach is a big fan of this either. Bun, do you think it's possible our defense just haven't been playing as hard considering they have 𝐂𝐟𝐷 at quarterback compared to Zach last year? I think it's that they're not playing hard anymore because it's very tough to maintain a motivation in a season that's losing. I think NFL players naturally go into a self-preservation mode, and you're just not as sharp. When you know you're totally out of it, how much are you going to put your body on the line in a game that doesn't mean anything? I think that has something to do with it. I don't know if it's the Jets thinking like, oh, Rodgers is here, he can bail us out so we don't have to be as good of a defense. Like we have to be on our game a little bit more with Zach. I think it's more that the defensive line just got decimated between JJ going down, losing Huff, losing JFM, losing Jefferson, losing Woods. That to me is the bigger crux of all of this. Sharon, we should change our name to New York Johnsons. Yeah, isn't it fitting that like Woody Johnson's name, Woody Johnson, is literally penis penis? Not even Brick Johnson, his son. Brick Dick? That's a pretty wild name. I think these guys would pay attention with the baby names. When we were naming our kids, we went through all the rhyming, all the different things, the innuendos that could be made. Clearly not a thought when you're a billionaire. Jet Up Buttercup. Weird how all of a sudden the Browns look like a competent football team. Good coaching and a decent head coach makes things look pretty decent. Watson's not a good quarterback. Sean says we got to spend a first-round pick on a quarterback every year until it sticks. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Like you just keep going until you get the quarterback you like. I think it is hard to take a first-round quarterback every single year. If you want to do it every other year and then add in like a third-round quarterback or something like that for competition, maybe you got something. I wouldn't go first-round pick every time. Paris says there's talk about Trevor Lawrence being available. I'm all for it if the new Jets regime wants him. He's still young and with better coaching and roster, he might finally develop. It would depend on the cost for me. He just signed a massive contract, and I don't really know how it works with trading for that contract. I thought I did when I talked to Dom last week. I still feel like I do because of like the bonuses and whatnot, but since they haven't been paid out, who actually is on the hook for that is the Jags or not. It might be prohibitive for them to trade him. Tristan behind the scenes. I'll get to Tristan in just a second. I just want to talk to Justin. Justin says, hey, Ryan, I'm only watching because you're live because football this year is actual pain. Justin, I appreciate you tuning in, hitting that like button. Not easy doing these. I have very much dialed back my content creation this year because for my own mental sanity, I'm just going to spend some time with my kids. And then obviously I look forward to hanging out with everyone here. So I appreciate you guys all being in here. JD says Milroe has not been looking good recently. No, he did not. He did not look good against Oklahoma either. All right. Let's get Tristan in here before I have to head out. Tristan, how you doing?
What's up, man?
How you feeling about this team?
And how do you not feel bad about this team, man? I mean, everything that they put us through at this point, what we were promised and then what we've received, just doesn't seem like you're ever going to get your return on profit on this team at all.
No, it doesn't feel like it in the slightest. Is there a head coach you want to see or maybe a direction you'd like to see this team go in the future?
Well, obviously the dream would be Vrabel, but I just don't see that happening with this football team. I'd say probably Brian Flores is probably going to be one of the better options for us. I mean, obviously you say with the Dolphins rivalry, he has that extra little grit against them. And especially if he can get us a good offensive coordinator, I don't see why that'd be a problem.
Now, as far as quarterback for next year, do you want to see the Jets go out and make a move for a vet or for a draft pick? Or are you hoping Rodgers maybe turns it around and maybe comes back next year? What's your mindset on the quarterback?
Oh, no, I'm absolutely out on Rodgers. Can't waste any more time on that. I'm saying 𝐂𝐟𝐷 is our bridge quarterback, and then if you can get within striking distance of one of these top three guys in the draft, you got to take one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like you got to bring in some sort of quarterback here to keep the young players like relatively happy. I feel like it's a good shot that Garrett's going to want out, Brees is going to want out. You'll start hearing everyone chirping in the offseason. Anything else you wanted to discuss? Any thoughts?
No, honestly, I just wanted to hop on here. I've been watching you for years now, back when you made your first video about us getting Kirk Cousins. So actually nice getting to talk to you. So been a long time, been a long journey with this team, and you are the only one that pretty much makes this team bearable, I'd say.
Tristan, I greatly appreciate it. It's been a long time. A lot of fun I've had over the last few years, and I can't believe you were watching the Kirk Cousins video. Makes my heart proud. Tristan, ejected from the cockpit. Always good to see that. Oh, we got a fan favorite over here, Mr. Mike. How you doing, dude?
There's like 50 things we can talk about.
Fire away. I've got 3 minutes before I gotta go.
Offensive coordinator.
What was that?
I want that offensive coordinator from Green Bay. That's the guy that I'm like kind of sold myself on. I don't even know his name. I don't give a shit. Take a good coordinator from a good coaching tree, from a good team that has consecutively have won. They developed Rodgers, Favre, Love. You know, like take a team that knows how to do it. They clearly know what they're doing. So give me someone like that. I also would rather have like a Zach Taylor. Yeah, I'd rather have a Zach Taylor and lose games where the offense just goes a burr and puts up 40 fucking points and they still lose than watch this dog shit. Like, I don't care anymore. If we're going to lose, at least make it freaking fun. Like, it's painful how stupid this team is and how badly they lose games. I mean, you can't even make this up. This team hands out timeouts like an STD from a stripper, and then instead this last game, they fucking hold them after a sack on third down. It's 4th and 15. Let's not use the timeout. Let's do a hurry up. Rodgers has got them beat. The only thing Rodgers has beat is like I just can't. You have what are you seeing to not take the timeout there? What are you saving it for? So they can take a knee, you can take a timeout, so they can take another knee? Like, what are we doing? This team just stupid and they suck. And it's like, if we're gonna lose these guys, make it fun. Bring in Justin Fields. Go power offense. Give me Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields, because you're losing Devontae Adams. You're losing Lazard. So we have no wide receivers. That's why we need to draft a wide receiver. Go Drew Aller in the second round. Build up that way. If you get me Carter, I would love McDonald, Carter, JJ as he recovers because he's going to come off slow because of the Achilles. So give me a buffer there. I'm cool with that too. You can sell me on a lot of things. You can't sell me on a defensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn, I don't give a shit. Flores, no. Rex Ryan, guys, he sucked. It was Mangini's team, and no one realizes that Woody ruined Mangini, but we don't want to talk about it, do we?
You're out of here! Mike, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Always good to have you on. One more thing I will add to that too. The whole Aaron Rodgers, they're not taking timeouts at the end of the half. Let's talk about the first drive or the second drive that we had to start the game. We had a third down, and Rodgers takes a bad sack, knocking us out of field goal range. And the only thing that saved us, Leonard Williams grabbed part of the face mask and gave us the first down that eventually wound up leading to a touchdown. So this team was not in it. It was a lot of smoke and mirrors yesterday. It's very, very brutal to watch. But boys and girls, I'm going to be hanging out with Dom C over on the Talking Jets channel momentarily. So head over there and I will see you in the next video.